Hi YouTube. Today I'm bringing another home speaker, and it's the Polk RT 800i. I've had these for quite a while. I I actually purchased these on the cheap, really like $75 for the pair. When I had sold the AT-15. So I was in a hard spot money wise. This is about like 11, 12 years ago. And I sold the AT-15s, and I was like, I can't go without nothing. And so like these were there, and I was like, okay, well, it's something's better than nothing. So I ended up rocking these for a while. I had these, and I believe I still had the AT-10s at the time. These were purchased right around the same time. I think I'd gotten the AT-10s, and I'm like ran into a money spot. I sold the AT-15s, and I purchased these. So I was using I was using them. Sometimes I was using these for my rears and using the AT-10s for the fronts, and then vice versa. For whatever reason, I preferred these up front and the AT-10s for the like rear surround. But then listening wise, I could go either or. They're two totally different speakers. You know, that's why I really like the Klipsch. It works for everything. Home theater or music listening. You know, they work really well for me. But like an AT-15, that's what it did before too. The AT-10s were just my rear speakers, and I roll with those. And then previous to those, I had a D9, and I switched to AT-15 just. You know, I always wanted a pair, and I switched, and it was like, I don't know. Seems like a lot of people prefer the D9. To me, it was pretty much a total toss up. The only one that I would say I would put an edge to would be maybe the LS 15. To me, I think that sounded better to me than either the AT or the D, but just barely. And then the RE38 I would put in like kind of dead last with that list, but still an amazing speaker. I would, in my personal opinion, the Klipsch that would trump all those models listed. And then too, I can't really compare this Polk RT800 to a Klipsch chorus because, you know, you'd have to adjust for inflation, because now these speakers are like about a decade apart, a little over even, and price point. You know, I don't know what the Klipsch was. I want to say MSRP was maybe $650, but you were probably paying closer to like $550 a piece. And then these were MSRP $400 a piece, but actually sold for like $270 each for the 800. And then they had higher series in the RT series, which, you know, I'm kind of going to get into that in a second. They had like, you know, now I'll go ahead and open this up now and show you, and you can see it's like a pod that sits on there. And Polk actually, and then there's another grill below, and this one's just blank. There's nothing there. When you got up in the series, they would add different stuff to these. So this isn't the highest one in the series by a long shot, and then also it isn't the lowest. The lowest would be the 600, I believe, the RT 600, which was just 1 6.5, and then one of these 1-inch tri-laminate domes, and you know, let's see, got all the specs here. So you got the 1-inch tri-laminate dome, which is supposed to be silver. I think maybe one of my kids rubbed off the the silver stuff on there, but the other one's fine. But it's actually this vinyl wrap on the front. The rest is an actual real oak veneer, just like the Klipsch is. But this vinyl wrap is coming delaminated, and right here you can see it's actually in the corner. It's missing a little piece. So yeah, these aren't like mint. But I got them real cheap. And they serve a purpose. I mean, I would say it's more of like a home theater type thing than music listening. you know, the soundstage isn't horrid, but it's not good. And they aren't a very detailed speaker, but they are easy on the ears. They are not nearly as like, you know, because the Klipsch's, they can be harsh if you're driving them at a high volume in a small room. They, you know, they're putting out a lot of sound. In fact, before I do any of my videos, I like to do a side-by-side with the chorus over on the right channel, and then I put this on the left channel. And well, let me go ahead and read the specs, and then I'll explain why this doesn't put out nearly as much sound as one of the Klipsch's. So you got the 1-inch tri-laminate dome, the 6.5s. There's 2 of them. They call it the Klipsch, or Polk's name for them was the Dynamic Balance 6.5. So whatever that marketing wank means. So, which I like Polk. This isn't a video dogging them in any way. You know, like, and then yeah, they got, so they're like, so if you go to I mean, these aren't available anymore. These were available around 2000 to maybe like 2002 is when they were clearing them out, when you could get them for like $270 each at Circuit City. They like I said, I think they retailed for like $400 each. I think they might even had an MSRP originally like $500, but don't quote me on that. Because it was kind of hard for me to find the original MSRP. But I mean, you never paid MSRP. You know, like you wouldn't do it on a Klipsch, you wouldn't do it on a Polk. That was just kind of a starting point, and then the you know, whatever speaker place you were in could mark them down from there. But you know, if you look up their old like sales literature, so it's like, you know, they call it the raised bezel, which they do have. Like, you know, it's raised off of the face. And that's supposed to get rid of grill diffraction, minimize it. Which, because, you know, I guess the grill does sit, and then that sticks up through the grill. So, like, the speakers are basically right on the grill. But I don't know how much grill diffraction you're having an issue with. But they listed in their marketing. The power port, which is not this little guy right here. But it's kind of a neat design. Down here, they have a really cool... You can see, and then it ports downward, and then it's got this kind of that neat, so it's not like chuffing or anything like that. It's like a cone that sticks up into the port, and then it kind of like spreads the sound. These, I mean, I like most speakers. I tend to like in the corner, especially the Klipsch. It's almost a necessity. If you don't have a corner to put them in, you better go with the Chorus 1 with the front ported instead of this. You know, it's got the rear firing 15-inch passive radiator. It has gold-plated 5-way binding posts, which are really nice, and then it also has biamp inputs, which I did biamp these speakers. I'll talk about that in a little bit. It has adjustable spikes at the bottom, and then the rear oak veneer. These were rated to -3 dB of roll-off, 42 hertz to 25,000 hertz. They're 8 ohm. They have only 90 dB of sensitivity. But they, you know, one thing I noticed is that these things came with a 5-year warranty, which I don't know what they're offering today, but I don't know how many 5-year warranties are out there, you know. I mean, if you go to like a really great company, they're gonna warranty it for a long time. But I mean, I don't know how many of these big box brands are doing that anymore. I haven't gone to buy a new pair of speakers. I deal mostly in vintage gear, so I don't really look at that. So maybe that's a common thing now, but I thought that was like that's standing behind your product to give a 5-year warranty like that. So, and then let me pull this out real quick. I kind of stuck it back there just to get more sound out of it, to get it closer to the corner. But I did want to show the back of this thing. All right, I can, if I can get light. Turn it around here. So yeah, it does have the biamp inputs. Right now, I have just these copper bridges in here. So it's not biamped currently. It's just hooked to the Yamaha MX2. What I did was I biamped these. I hooked them to the Yamaha M70 for the highs, and then no, I hooked that for the lows. And then I hooked the them to the receiver for the highs, the RXV 2092. I didn't notice like a huge improvement. More separation between the highs and lows. But with these, you don't get a lot of, like, I don't know, the mid drivers, I mean, if we're being honest, are also the bass drivers. I mean, if you want bass, it's not, these were meant to be used with a subwoofer. They just were. I mean, for two 6.5s, a lot of output in the lower end for 6.5s. But, I mean, I'm a 15 guy. I like 15s. I mean, like, if anything less than a 15, you better be doing some really crazy stuff to be getting sound out of there, because you know, I think there's no replacement for displacement, and that's kind of how I feel about that. But I mean, for what they are, I mean, they serve their purpose for the time that I had them. You know, I bought these were recession speakers, so you know, they got me through. But you know, they've been retired for quite some time now. I did for a while, and right here is the 2092, and it's a 5.1, but it has two low effects channel outs, and so it's not like a 0.2 because they're just matched identical. But you could hook two, easily hook two subwoofers to that receiver, and then it has like a regular 5.1, and then it has these two extra front effects channels, and the front effects, I use these Polks for that, which now looking back was probably a bad idea. I probably should have used like maybe one of the Vegas for that, like the AT10, because these have such a low, like 90 dB is not very efficient. So you've got Klipsch chorus 2s putting out the main fronts, and then these are supposed to add effect. I mean, when I have this right now hooked up with the Klipsch chorus, the chorus 2 on the right, and this is on the left. The chorus is, it's like 101 dB sensitivity. This is 90 dB. You can't even hear this thing. There's no left side. It feels like I have a speaker out. This is so much less sensitivity, and it takes so much more power to get it going than the Klipsch, that at no point on the dial do you start hearing this thing hardly. It's so drowned out by the Klipsch, and I can maybe demonstrate that a little bit, but it's, you know, it's kind of hard to capture that. But yeah, it's not, and like I said, it's not a fair comparison. Totally different price points, but not drastically. I mean, it's not like this is twice as expensive as this was. I mean, you could walk out of a store $1,100 for these, probably around $550 to $600 for a pair of these. So, well, maybe it's about twice as much. So I don't know. So I guess they're about twice as much, about there. So it's kind of an apples to oranges comparison. But just like if you were, I don't know, looking for any tower, a lot of the towers and by Infinity made, you know, especially early 2000s, that was just kind of the thing. I mean, there was very little large speakers. I mean, even Klipsch has moved to this style speaker. But what Polk did that was interesting is, like, throughout the RT, it was kind of like a platform. You know, essentially the tower, and they did make larger cabinets, but for a lot of different models in the series, they use this exact cabinet. They just added different bezels. Like the RT1000, they added 2 8s down here that this doesn't have. You know, and I'm sure they get a lot better low end output out of something like that than you do this. But you know, I mean, I couldn't imagine paying hundreds of dollars for these, but $74 at a pawn shop, oh yeah, all day. You know, I mean, they, you know, for what they are, they work. You know, if you were looking for like a rear, you know, your rear effects channel, like, you know, I would use them for that. I wouldn't use them for a front main. I mean, if you had to, I mean, it'd be better than nothing, but and better than a sound bar and a subwoofer for sure. But you know, that's not really what their forte is. You know, it's I don't know. I would say, you know, put them on the rear where you don't have, it's not handling a lot, because I'll show that. I'm gonna do a little music demonstration. You know, just to kind of show what they can do and show the limitation, which the thing I run into with these is these say that they are good from 20 to 250 watts, and I got a 150 watt amplifier here, and not even at 12 o'clock, these things are done. So the Klipsch is louder when the volume's low, and it continues to get louder. And when you get up to 12 o'clock, these things fall apart. They start to pop and stuff. They can't handle that the low end. And then the Klipsch just keep going past there. I mean, I haven't found a breaking point for these, and I don't want to because I don't want to break them. And I don't know. I guess I'm doing a comparison. It's just what I have hooked up right now that I was doing the left and right previous to the video. So I'm just trying to explain it through that way because that's my best comparison I have right at this moment. But yeah, I mean, overall they're good sounding speakers. I would say that, you know, some people said these are bright, which is absolutely insane. The Klipsch, I could see where you call that a bright speaker, but I just find it highly detailed. These, the high end is not very present. Like it's underwhelming. They pulled back too much. But I mean, you could listen to this thing at high volume all day and your ears aren't going to be like irritated, you know. So it's definitely easy on the ears, but it's just not, you know, they're just not a very exciting speaker. But for what they are in their price range, you know, I mean, they worked for me. I used them for a long time. They didn't die on me. They're well made. They just you know, they have the limitations due to, you know, cost restraints. But, you know, I just think what Polk did with the RT line and this it's kind of like a modular thing where they could just pop anything into these one single cabinet. Obviously, at manufacturing costs are going to go way down. So I see what they're doing. But anyway, I'm going to play something real quick just so you can hear it and then, you know, see them. Because you'll see these 6.5s just struggle. Now I'm going to fade to the other side so you can hear a Klipsch. So anyway, just a little bit of a clutch. I love them. But anyway, the difference is just night and day. And these things are absolutely working to make it happen. Whereas that Klipsch, I'm not even pushing that thing. It's not even, that's probably half of what it could handle. So, I mean, if you were like, okay, I want to go out and find my dream speaker, the RT 800i is not going to be it. But if you find a pair at a garage sale or something for like 15 bucks, yeah, I mean, this was a, you know, a $500 set of speaker back in the day. And are they worth that now? No. But anything sub 100, I would say you're not making a poor purchase. These were well made. I've abused the hell out of them for years, over a decade. Well, I quit using them a few years back, so probably about 6 years I had these in service, and you know, I liked them. They you know, they're not horrible sounding. They're better than like I don't know, some of the cheaper Sonys and stuff that might have been side by side, but like as far as like Infinity, that would be, I'd put them on par with like an Infinity, but like I don't know. I tended to swing the Infinity way when in the same price point for whatever reason. But Polk was definitely doing their thing, and you know, they're still making this style speaker, just upgraded. So you know, maybe some of those would stand up better to what I like to, you know, how I like something to sound. But you know, these not bad for what they are and for how cheap I got them and what they're going for nowadays. Not a bad choice at all, especially for home theater use. And that's it.